Good evening, everybody. Welcome to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, I told you the locals weren't going to catch them.
I know, and I said at least 10 bags over 20 pounds.
Yeah, how many were there? 11?
Yeah, there were 11. The 10th and 11th place, Chris Groh and Jordan Lee tied, and then Josh Bertrand was just shy of that, come in with 19-15. You're not even in the top 10, and I believe there were 58 anglers out of the 106 competing that had at least 15 pounds, which I'm no math major, but that's a 3-pound average.
Yeah, Grant kind of showed out today, didn't it?
It was pretty impressive, and Dave and I were out on the water for about half of the day, and pretty much everyone we saw was doing the same thing, and I have a feeling the majority of the field was doing the same thing, and that's what Van Dam said in his interview afterwards, which we're going to hear in a few moments. He is currently sitting in 4th place with 21 and change, that it has the potential to get a lot better, too.
Yeah, tomorrow, sunshine. Yeah. Today we had clouds. What's surprising is this time of the year, typically the wind is your typical Oklahoma 10 to 20.
Right. And we had a little wind. Let me rephrase what I just said there. Van Dam says it's going to not be as good for him because what he was doing today and what we saw was not sight fishing. But as a whole, I think they started to make their push. The big wave that everybody's been talking about happened this afternoon.
We talked about the pressure that this lake has experienced over the past month and a half. To be sitting in 51st place with 15.9, that's pretty impressive for a lake that has been through everything that it's been through so far over the past 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys, and I fished Grand this year, like probably 6 days this year. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they were sandbagging when they were saying they weren't catching them in practice. I really don't. Because it's been like up and down and up and down. And you talked to a number of guys today, and they said they had little windows or they caught them early. I know Kyle Monty had all of his weight by 9 a.m. Brock Mosley had the majority of his weight by 11 a.m. Interestingly, Takahiro Omori, who was the headliner from Lake Martin, has gotten either no bang or a lot of bang for his buck for the one win that he's had. I mean, he's been able to say he's the reigning Elite Series champion for 77 days now, but he came in with almost 24 pounds and caught 2 6-pounders after 2 o'clock, and he had a 4 o'clock check-in. So you look at the top 3 anglers, and the first 2 were done and then practiced the rest of the day, but the number 1 guy had 15 pounds until 2 and caught his 2 biggest in the final 2 hours.
Yeah, here's the other thing, too. We mentioned on the show we did last night, at least I did, that I had spoken with Gerald Swindle on Wednesday, the last day of practice, and he was like, man, he goes, I can catch 10, 12 pounds, get 5 or 6 bites, and that's about it. So today, when he weighs in, what did he have, 21.8? Yeah, he has 21.8 today, and I walk up to him and I said, dude, what were you talking about on Wednesday during practice? He goes, I'm going to tell you right now. He said, I caught my limit. I caught that 21.8 in a 500-yard stretch and did not catch anything outside that 500 yards.
At least you had that 500-yard stretch. They don't ask you how. They ask you how many and how much. But it's interesting. You look at the top 10. You've got Texas, Mississippi, Florida.
I was going to make another comment about that 500-yard stretch, but just keep going.
Well, go ahead and then keep going after I'm done. Okay, have at it. Let's talk about the 500-yard stretch.
Keep going, man.
Mark.
Just keep going.
Sorry, I was just trying to make the show flow. I thought you were done.
I was not done.
Okay, then go for it.
The key point is the characteristics of this lake. He may go back to that 500-yard stretch tomorrow and not get a single bite.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said. But he's going back. Obviously, he's going back. But with this lake changing and this movement taking place, and I'm just intrigued, even though I have spent a ton of time in this area. I am really, really looking forward to see what happens. Number 1, with the sunshine being out tomorrow. Number 2, with the wave coming up. And number 3, the historical data shows that most of the time you're not able to duplicate what you accomplished in the same area of this lake. That's the point I was trying to make about the 500-yard stretch.
Well, then Christy and Evers will be in good shape because they got a lot of room to move up from there.
Yeah.
So.
Do what, Dave?
Dave wants to know if we're still reserving the 2 spots in the top 12 for Edwin and Jason.
Man.
I'll double down on it. I think they'll have big days tomorrow.
I agree. I mean, what do you expect? Good grief.
I mean, that's a lot of guys they got to pass. I mean, considering there's 11 guys with 20 pounds and they're 7 pounds back.
All right, I'm going to throw it out there. You guys were fast asleep last night because you could give a rat's ass about it. But the Oklahoma City Thunder was down by 25 in the third quarter. Everybody pretty much had written them off. In fact, the man at the Sheeler compound said, it's over, it's done, they're finished. All right? They came back from a 25-point deficit and won last night. Can Mr. Christie and Mr. Edwin make a rally on day 2, just like Oklahoma City did, and come back and be in the thick of things on day 3?
Well, I mean, Edwin had a 29-pound bag in the day 3 of the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah.
And didn't have a limit on the first day, I don't believe. So, yeah, it can happen. And that was Jason, and that was Jason Christie, too. Now, I'd heard Christie had told someone that what he did today was the best he'd had after 3 days of practice. Like, today was his best day as far as bite-wise. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's secondhand. But another angler told me that. And then we also had a chance to watch Jason. Dave and I got on the water and watched Jason today.
Yeah.
Watch him catch his best fish, one of his best fish. He's pretty much doing what he did in the Classic, it seemed. Now, different baits and fishing a little bit differently, but just as far as...
Did he have a lot of company with him?
No, he had 3 boats with him.
See, for me, that's kind of shocking. I know it's Thursday, but there's so many people.
We also watched Van Dam.
How many people did he have?
1 boat.
Wow, what time was that?
About 11.
He had 1 boat.
Yeah, it was nice outside, too. I mean, it was overcast, 70 degrees.
Shocking.
So, yeah, there was a lot of... we don't know if we'll talk about that. There were some non-wrapped boats fishing on the old Grand Lake today, Mark.
Wow.
Saw a number of non-competitors casting, catching, counting, and mounting, which is good for them. It's public lake.
We've had that discussion numerous times, so we're not going to get into it tonight. All right, Frank in Michigan wants to know, do you think the water is going to clear up enough to where when Sunday rolls around that it could be a full-blown sight fishing bonanza?
I don't know if it's going to clear up enough, but I think there are definitely guys that are sight fishing. I think there's areas where they can still see them. I know there's guys who, I know right now of an angler who didn't do that great today, but who has a one between 5 and 6 with a 3.5-pound buck on a bed that he can barely see because the water is muddy, and he spent the last hour of his day trying to catch him. And he didn't catch him, and they're his first stop tomorrow morning.
All right, I'm not going to say who. I spoke to 3 people, and the only question I asked them was, are you looking at him? All 3 of them said no. I said, okay, follow-up question. Are you catching fish off beds? Yes. What does that tell you?
That these are spawning, and this is Mother Nature's way after a couple years of wrecking them off the beds that they'll actually get some of the job done this year.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't think the water in most of the areas. Are there a couple of areas maybe where fish are spawning that is kind of out of the ordinary? From what I understand, there's one dude went so far up the Neosho that the camera crew that was following him said, wait a minute, no, can't go any further.
Mm-hmm.
So are there some little backwater areas, maybe up the Elk or up the Neosho, that has some clear water? Maybe somebody is looking at them.
Yeah, they restocked the buffet is what must have happened based on your buffet line analogy last night, that it was the end. Like, you're in line and you're like, I'm going to get the last crab leg. Wonder how long that's been sitting in there.
Dude, they just brought out.
Then right before it gets to you, that big steaming plate of crab legs comes out.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Dan in Wisconsin says, I think the lake is fishing too wide open for the HFA to have a consistent impact. Could be. And we said this last night. We said it. I still am going to go to the day 4 saying that I truly believe that the HFA should have come into play.
And Fred Urbanus caught him. I'm giving him a HFA because he lived in Tulsa for 10 years.
Yeah.
James Elam caught him. Tommy Biffle caught him.
Yep.
So.
What about Kyle Monty?
Kyle Monty had a stretch that he thought he could catch a good one in. And I don't know if you have that audio queued up.
I'll get it queued up. What do you
get that queued up?
Yeah.
But he had a stretch, and he finished, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, he finished dead last in the last tournament at Martin. I think he finished dead last.
Wow.
Okeechobee dude.
Wow.
And had a good practice, had a stretch. He thought he could get a good one in. He went in, he caught 3 good ones, lost a good one, caught a rat, went to another spot, caught a good one, had most of his weight by 9 a.m., and then milled around, and he said he shook a bunch of fish off this afternoon, and he hopes they're still there tomorrow, and he's pretty confident.
Right, real quick. From an Elite Series perspective, who are the 2 hottest anglers right now, as of right now?
From an Elite Series, well, you got to go Takahiro's number 1.
Yep, and who else?
Jordan Lee.
Jordan Lee. Totally agree. Wow, we actually agree upon
Jordan
something.
Lee had 24 today. 20 pounds, 4 ounces.
Yeah. Sitting in 10th
Tied
place.
with Chris Grow.
Tied in 10th place. All right, cool. So kind of set up this clip and we'll roll it.
You're going to hear, now if you're watching this, you'll be able to see it because they'll save it. If you're listening to it, you're going to hear 4 interviews in order. Takahiro, Brock Mosley, Kyle Monty, and the initials.
Here you go.
Well, any tournament important have a good start, but last time I fished Grand was 5 years ago on the Classic. It was freezing cold, and I never caught 5, I think. And I had no clue this time. It was tough and the practice, so that was a big surprise for me today. Yeah, fishing springtime changed like a daily, hourly, so that's not surprise, you know. You have to make a good move. And I did perfectly today. Like I said, I had a 15 pound around 2 o'clock. I had a 4 o'clock check-in. Then 2 biggest fish, like 2 6-pounder, come after 2 o'clock. So I bet that because it warm up a little bit, so fish start move around, and I hit perfect timing to catch those 2 big ones. That's how I had a 23 pound lead in this tournament.
I had probably 22 pounds by 11 o'clock this morning, and I kind of sloughed off the rest of the day, and all of them are pre-spawners for sure. That's one reason why they weighed so good, but it was a fun day. Fish are healthy, fish are biting, and these guys are catching them. You can't let up against these guys. I'm really running a pattern. It's not like I'm relying on areas. So there's a lot of pressure, no doubt, but fish are constantly moving in, so I'm not afraid to go behind people. Not saying they're not catching them, but new fish are constantly pulling up.
I'm pretty happy with it. I think I can, get 15, 18 tomorrow. I just don't know if I'm going to get the same quality. After about 9:30 today, I had what I had, 22, whatever it was. But I'm going to go back out and hope that the ones that I shook off today are still there, because I started shaking some off later in the day. And it's definitely a pattern. That's what I like about this lake, is that when you catch them on one thing in a certain situation, you can run that over the lake. So
kind of like what happened in the Classic. They never forecasted it to get that warm, and I'd prefer it to be cold, and let them kind of hold out a little bit. But these they're wound up. Everybody's kind of running the same kind of pattern. Yeah, I think it's going to be different for different guys. I was really fortunate today to catch what I caught for sure. I've been getting some big bites every day, but it's just been very random. And so, I had 3 big bites today and landed all of them, and that's what you have to do. If you lose one, you're killed. So I really, I didn't catch very many fish, and again, what I'm doing, it's not conducive, I don't think, to get a lot of big bites, but when with the wind blowing and the clouds and that, I kind of capitalized on that this morning and made it work for a while. But this afternoon, it just really died.
Wow. All right, Matthew, more disappointment for Oklahoma. We just found out that Baker Mayfield goes number 1 to the Cleveland Browns.
I grew up a Browns fan. My dad's originally from Lakewood, Ohio, which is close to Cleveland.
Oh.
And we actually, growing up, had a Cleveland Browns lamp. And my dad would have the dog pound thing, and we would have the milk bone, wishbones.
That's back in the Brian Sipe days, wasn't it, Dave?
So.
You remember Brian Sipe?
Looks like I am now.
Oh, jeez.
Now a Baker Mayfield Cleveland Browns fan.
The disaster continues for Oklahoma. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of insight there on the top 5 guys. Is that right?
Top 4.
Top 4 guys.
Yep.
And one thing that I took from That Said interviews and some of the guys that I talked to, there was a comment on the instant feedback about these guys sandbagging. Right? I honestly think that practice was really difficult.
And I'll say this, and I said this in the last night too. These fish weigh heavier than they look. A 2-pounder weighs a 2.5. A 3-pounder weighs 3 3/4, just because of the time of the year that it is.
I cannot believe Mayfield went number 1. Unfreaking believable.
I can believe he went number 1.
Not to Cleveland, though. Cleveland. I'm sorry. Anybody out there? What is that? Frank Scalish? I'm sorry, man. Cleveland. Cleveland's
Who
horrible.
else is Ohio? Michael Simonton. Charlie Hartley.
How many?
1 out of their last 35.
Holy moly.
What do we got? Frank Scalish, Charlie Hartley, Michael Simonton, Joe Thomas.
It says, we're getting all kinds of feedback in here now. It says the Browns have a 10-year consecutive losing season streak and haven't won a playoff game since 1994.
See, there you go, you're all.
That wasn't me.
No, but I'm
That's
just saying
Dan from
your
Wisconsin.
overall demeanor is not positive, Jeffries.
Oh,
This
jeez.
could be a positive scenario. You're going negative already. You're going
I
cold
am-
front.
I'm going
They're
based
not
upon
biting. There's going to
historical
be
data.
6-footers on the main lake.
Not. All right, good
I
for
mean,
Baker
hell,
Mayfield.
they shouldn't even have a team then. Shouldn't even go out onto the field. If you're Jeffries. If you're
It
in
has been
Jeffries'
discussed.
world.
He's right.
In
Dave
Jeffries'
is right.
world.
Dave is right. Not the case. All right. Lots of opportunity there. Right, Matthew?
Yes, just like there is lots of opportunity for the majority of the
Well,
field
I
to
think
get
he's
back
getting
in
paid
this.
millions, and the other guys are having to pay thousands. There's a little bit of difference there,
See, there you go,
Matthew.
negative again.
I'm not negative.
Always goes
I am
back to
factual.
finances and negativity with you.
Oh, jeez. Jeez. All right. Our friend Carl from Ohio. Obviously, he's a Cleveland fan. We're not doing football talk live, folks. What do I say in the intro? We're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. And Baker Mayfield going number 1 is it's pretty exciting.
Yep.
It's just Cleveland. All right, man. What happens on day 2, Matthew?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I really don't.
It could turn into a sight fishing fest. It could turn into it gets slick and calm and gets tough for him to bite.
It is going to be Bluebird tomorrow.
I don't know. There's a number of different ways. I mean, you base it on what Takahiro says, and it's going to be lights out. You base it on what Van Dam says, and it's going to get tough.
Carl with the throwdown. He goes, trust me, we're not thrilled to have a midget.
About Mayfield? That's cold-hearted.
That is awesome. That's pretty funny.
So,
Jay Roberts.
yeah, we got the FLW tour. We're going to talk about that in the next segment of the show. But it was tough and high at Smith. So
It's like
apparently,
6 feet high, wasn't it?
apparently that lake fluctuates like 3-4 foot all the time. So they had practice. The lake was dropping in practice, and it came up 3 foot before they came. Then it came up again. It was like in the parking lot. It was actually kind of funny.
Yeah. We've
there
seen
was
that
a-
happen at Pickwick
There
before.
was a snap by one of the guys who put on his or I think it was his Instagram, and it was like there was like good-looking water behind like a fence, like chain link fence for dogs. He's like, "Is this legal water? Can I flip behind the chain link
Behind
fence?"
the fence. That's funny.
But you can't access it with a boat. So, David Williams, I'm pulling the standings up on that. Who's having a heck of a season. He fished the Elite Series before. He's from North Carolina.
Who is that?
David Williams.
Yes.
Is leading that tournament.
How much
And
weight?
I think anything over 12 got you into the top 50.
Man, it is calm right now. It is dead calm here at Grand Lake at the Sheeler compound.
It is. I bet you could go
Is that
down there
dude
and-
still out there trying to catch crappie? Is he still out there?
He is. He's had an earful of Bass Talk Live trying to crappie fish. Oh yeah, I remember Captain Blake Smith in second.
The
Clint
captain.
Davis.
How much weight?
16.2.
What's leading it? Williams?
18.11, and then Cody Meyer making a bounce back with 15.13. Matt Airy, James Niggemeyer having a heck of a season over on FLW Tour after making the move. He's in seventh. Jim Moyna. I would like to spend a day in the boat with Jim Moyna
Fascinating time.
and Randy Blockett.
Fascinating time.
Jim Moyna, Randy Blockett, and Aaron Martins. That'd be a heck of a trio.
That would be.
Castledine made a bounce back. He's in the top 20. Thrift is in 23rd. Andy Morgan is in 26th. So
All right, can you see the standings here?
I can.
Who out of the cut makes a huge comeback tomorrow besides Edwin and Chris?
Besides those two that we've guaranteed a lock into the top 12, even though they're eight pounds. I think Porosnik.
Where is he sitting?
He had 15 pounds on the dot for 58th place.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm still sticking with Mike McClellan.
Okay.
I think he
64th
rallies.
place, he had 14.10. They're all super close. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just a couple pounds difference, and there are enough 5 and 6 pounders caught today that you put a couple of those in the box, and now you're up in the 20-pound range.
Yeah. In fact, as we look at the standings, 60th to 79th place is less than a pound.
What do you I'm looking at the comment from Dan from Wisconsin there.
Yeah.
I mean, the lake's not going to get clear overnight.
No.
It takes us a long time for it to clear up.
It doesn't have
especially
grass
once
in
it
it.
gets stained down lake. It's not like an overnight thing where you're going to have
Well,
clarity.
here's the other thing too. It's somewhat not unique, but the pattern of as we get rain, even as we get rain in Kansas and Missouri, that flow down from the Neosho is mud. I mean, it is just muddy water. And as they continue to establish the lake level and they try to keep it at 742, all of that muddy water from the Neosho washes down. So a lot of the locals have said this is the dingiest that they've seen the lake for this long of a period of time, for a very, very long time. Did any significant spots or smallies get weighed in today? Well,
No.
one, it would be very rare if a smallmouth was weighed in because they are native, but they're native way up the Elk, and they are very, very rarely weighed in. If there is one weighed in, I think the biggest one I've ever seen weighed in is 4 pounds. It's a transplant from somewhere.
And there's not spots big enough when you need a 3-pound average. I think the lake record spot's only like 3.8.
Yeah.
So
Dan in Wisconsin says, whatever happened to Shaw Grigsby?
I don't think it was a sight fishing tournament.
It's not.
They're
spawning. They're just not.
It's a hybrid tournament.
It really is.
Is that not a good? I mean, you might find a guy who finds a spot and gets bit and realizes it's a fish on a bed and then kind of blind bed fishes it or can barely see it. I don't think there's guys who went in and had 50 fish marked on beds and went in and sight fished them. I mean, I think you kind of got to get right on top of them to see them. And I think they're moving up right now.
Let me ask you and Dave, tomorrow, would it be possible to, especially with the sun out, to actually get some video with the GoPro and where you could show how clear the water is or not clear the water is?
Yeah.
Would it just be a big thing of mud, basically?
Yeah, we can just ease right in between. Like, if we find Van Dam again, we'll get in between him and the bank, and I'll
Well,
put
no,
the
you could
GoPro under the water.
You could actually walk right down here and show the people, because this is mid-lake.
Absolutely.
The back of a pocket where you think it would be clear because you really don't have a whole lot of flow-through from the Neosho, and you could actually put it out on the bass zone and say, hey, look, here's what the water clarity's like here at Grand Lake.
That'll work.
Is that functional? Is that a bad idea? Or, you know?
No. If that's what that's what the people want, that's what we'll give them.
I mean, because they're asking, hey, how clear it is. Brian in California wants to know, will there be a lot of local pressure on the weekend?
Typically, there's not. Typically, Oklahoma's really good about it.
Yeah.
But there were a bunch of people fishing today.
Yeah, you know, I had 4 locals that I ran into at the weigh-in, and they all live around here. And I asked them, I said, what's going on? How come the crowd was a little light? I mean, I really expected
Everyone's fishing.
a lot more. And he said, man, a lot of people didn't know about it. He said there were actually people that went out that didn't realize that there was a tournament
really?
taking place today. Because he had one of the guys is a crappie guy.
Yeah.
All right. And he didn't get it. He went out. He actually had a crappie trip. Didn't get in the way of anybody or anything like that based upon what he's doing. But he told me, he said he would run into people, people that he knew. And they said, what's going on today? Is there a tournament going on? They didn't even realize that anything was taking place.
Huh.
Which I don't know. I don't know. And Dan is in Wisconsin. I'm drinking green tea. And
yeah, this is where
he's loving what you're drinking there,
that's
Matthew.
from Chippewa Falls,
Yeah.
Wisconsin. We've
He's
actually
loving it.
Been through there when you go up to various locations.
Let's see here. Is there anything else on the instant feedback that I missed?
I don't think so. I'm in bad need of a allergy pill, Mr. Jeffries.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any?
I do.
Did you take one this morning?
I did.
And it didn't work?
It did, apparently for about 12 hours.
I don't know. What's the standard dosage on that?
24.
Well, you can't take another one then. You got to wait. You're
I
just
mean,
going to have to
typically,
suffer
don't you
through
just
it.
double
Dude, you gotta
what the recommended dose
Do you have
is?
a hangnail, too, that you
Don't
need
you
to take
just
care
double the recommended dose?
No. No, not at all.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah, my phone's blowing up because of the Baker Mayfield thing. Sorry about that. Let's see here.
What are you, like an insider in the NFL draft or something?
No. It's all my friends,
Oh.
the OU connection, friends and stuff. Anyway, it's still blowing up. I thought I had it turned off. Let's see here. I was on my local lake today. Water temp was 42 degrees.
They're not spawning yet in your local
I'd
lake.
gladly trade water temps for a little bit of muddy water.
It's not muddy, it's stained.
It's just a weird looking
It's
color.
a little chalky in some areas.
It's just weird.
Well, this cove's a little different than the rest of the lake. There's different colors in different sections of the lake.
This is more greener, isn't it?
Yeah, this looks more like a koi pond back here.
Dan is in Wisconsin wants to know best guesses as to what it's going to take for a top 5 bag tomorrow.
Another 20-pound bag.
Maybe 21.
Yeah.
Maybe 21. All right. Anybody else have anything on the instant feedback? We'll give it a couple minutes. And then that's kind of going to wrap things up. We will have video summaries.
It's out. It's actually out now under the store. I just got to wait for Dave to send me an awesome photo.
Well, then what I was going to say
Talk
is
to Hero.
on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will have video summaries on the Bass Zone. We might do another show. Don't know, not for sure yet. We might do another show on Saturday, just depending, maybe not. We'll decide on that. We have the big barbecue extravaganza at the Dr. Wickersham's.
It's gonna be a mini
Dude,
horse.
he's been working on it all week long.
On what? Butchering
This barbecue thing. He's all about it. All right. Do you guys think there will be more 20-plus bags tomorrow?
I don't know.
Yes.
You do?
More than today?
There were 11 today.
No. I think he means more, as in
No, I
additional.
think he means more.
No. I would still put the over-under at 5 tomorrow.
Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of confused. That's not typical.
Huh. Dan wants to know if I'm growing the mullet. No, I just
Yes, he is.
I'm not. I haven't made it to the barber
He's
yet.
got to grow it out far enough so he can shave a Nike symbol in the back of his head.
I do not go to a stylist to get my hair cut, of which then I make specific videos of how cool and clean I am on top.
I believe that's called a fade.
No, I don't do that. I go to Great Clips or Sports Clips or whatever's not busy. Here, cut it. Collar length above the ear. Thank you very much. $10.
You haven't been in months.
I haven't.
I mean, that's ponytail territory.
Yeah.
You and Brent Broderick could get conditioner kits.
No. A lot of people are taking the under on the 20-pound limits tomorrow.
The JT Kenny look going.
Oh, Carl in Ohio says, I think you owe the folks in Ohio an apology. All right, I'll say this. I think there's a tremendous opportunity for Baker Mayfield to play for the Cleveland Browns. As Matthew says all the time, there's nothing but the upside. There's nothing but potential to be successful. He's already been successful. He's going to sign a multi-million-dollar contract to play football in the NFL. I apologize, Cleveland, that you haven't made the playoffs since 1994.
The whole cove has been listening to BTL. You notice? Everyone's...
Oh, jeez. No, he said more than today. No, not more than today, as far as 20-pound limits. So what should we look for tomorrow on Bass Live?
Oh, I'm interested to see if you see a guy who goes, there's one, and drops his power poles, pulls out the sight fishing baits, and goes to town.
Yeah.
That's what I would be looking for.
Dude, you're dead on.
I
Can't
will
wait
be
to see.
watching that, and I will go, ooh, that's very interesting. Because if that happens, or if you see multiple guys in the top that are locked down,
Yeah.
then it's anybody's ball game.
Yeah, Carl, I apologize. I apologize to everybody in Ohio. I wish the Cleveland Browns nothing but the best.
I lived in Ohio for a year. I played junior hockey in Cincinnati.
You did? Yeah. I remember you saying that.
For the Cobras.
I'm not saying it's a bad place.
Cincinnati Cobras. Time of my life.
It's got great fishing.
Learned a lot of stuff there.
The smallmouth fishing there is incredible.
Down in Cincinnati, it's kind of sucky, but
The fishing?
it's not the best.
That's close to the Ohio River, right?
It's not the best.
Maybe they could have the classic at the Ohio River.
If they
How
paid
good-
money, they'd put it on a farm pond.
Good point. Good point. All right. Let's see. People, Dan in Wisconsin, he's liking the evening shows. So, yeah, it's kind of cool that I'm actually able to be at this event and able to do the shows. There was even a message on the instant feedback about the throwback from doing Wide Open with the legend.
Yeah, the only thing that this does not have is a large bottle of Jack Daniels.
David wants to know, is the spawn behind schedule? If so, why?
Not really. It's just we've had a series of fronts that have kind of knocked it back and kept that water in the 50s.
Very well-respected angler say that he thought in his opinion, they've
We're
been
listening to
spawning
Dave.
for 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, there's a well-respected angler
That said what?
that they've been spawning for 2 or 3 weeks. I like how you have all this information, Dave, and you
Huh.
did not want to come on and do a
He did not
segment
want to
on
make an appearance.
BTL.
Did not want to make an appearance. Carl, good point, man. Very good point. When was the last time OU won a national championship?
In what?
2001?
In 2000.
Was it 2000?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while. Good grief, it's blowing up here. Okay. Wow. And we got a little bantering going on here. Yes, behind schedule because of cold fronts.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you said, wasn't it?
Yep.
Except for the so-called experts said they've been spawning for 2 or 3 weeks. But you know what? We're going to see tomorrow whether or not they're bed fishing on Bass Live.
A respect. Was it Ron Moore?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. All right, anything else, Matthew?
No, that wraps it up.
Yeah, you could say that. So thank you, everybody, for the participation on the instant feedback. Dave, man, you should have came on here. Sorry, dude. Jeez.
I got work to do, Mark. Let's wrap this
I know.
up.
Okay,
I gotta
well,
get the videos out and stuff sent
I'm
to
sorry,
people.
man. One more question from the instant feedback. Chris in Michigan wants to know, what do you think the winning lure is going to be this weekend?
I
do you
think it'll
think?
be something soft. I mean, I don't think a crankbait's going to win it if you just look at the conditions going forward. I think it's going to be tough to crank for the next 3 days of bluebird skies and no wind.
No, I agree.
And the sight bite coming on, something you can a jig or a flipping something with a combination, maybe a buzz bait or something in the morning.
I agree. We're going to see. All right, man. Let's see here. Hey, I got to give it up to everybody in the instant feedback. It is been very entertaining and very interactive. So we will be back maybe on Saturday. If not,
How do you
we
want
will,
me to promote that?
I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll make a decision tonight. All right.
All right.
And then if we don't do anything on Saturday, then we will be live from Kentucky Lake, live via Skype. I will be back in studio. Matt and Dave will be on the road, and that will take place on Wednesday of next week.
Sounds good.
Because you guys have a day off for travel, and then have practice and get after it on back-to-back events. So everybody, thank you so much. Oklahoma guys, come on. Christy, Edwin, let's start kicking it. Biffle, let's go. Make Oklahoma look good.
I think they've done a lot to make Oklahoma look good in the fishing world
I'm talking
before this
about.
tournament.
I'm talking about this week, my friend.
All right.
Success is measured by now. All right, everybody, be safe. Hey, try and do some fishing this weekend. Enjoy what's going to go down at Grand Lake on Bass Live tomorrow. We're going to get some insight, obviously, on what the guys are doing. So everybody be safe. We will talk to you soon. You got a hangnail?